Welcome to SEO Conspiracy.com. This is your alternative search news for week 32 of 2020. And we have a lot to cover, so let's dive in. First, YouTubers. Influencers on YouTube seems the most trusted by consumers. The digital information world.com is reporting a study where the percentage of the consumers over the last 6 months influenced to purchase a product or service by influencers, 27% of them voted for YouTube, 24% for Instagram, and 15% for TikTok. In my opinion, it makes sense. On video, it's a lot harder to fake it. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's a lot harder. With the written word and pictures, it's much easier to paint a picture that is not totally truthful, while lying on camera is a whole different game. Next, Mr. Alex Credler is reporting on ThreadReader that Google and other tech giants should be a little more serious about what they do with the whole structured data, metadata schemas. How do you say that word? You know, as you explain to a robot that doesn't understand what it reads, what is actually the entity. The whole semantic web thing, which is different than semantic SEO, okay? Not the same game. But what's happening here is on the GitHub repository for schema.org, there are currently 600 open issues with 15 pull requests, including 2 critical breaking issues, just within this past week. It does take people, it does take resources, and I think Google and the other ones have to take it seriously if they want to control it. Please do something about it, because it's not moving very fast. My first keynote on the topic was in 2012 or 2013, and not so much happened since then. So, yeah, I don't have the solution, but please, Google and the others, get on it. Next, EurekaAlert.org is reporting a study of 3,000 restaurants over in Franklin County, Ohio, and they looked at Yelp and TripAdvisor. And they suggest that a few negative online reviews early on can really hurt a restaurant. It's a huge debate. The online review business and scheme. Again, I saw this starting off, all those review websites and the trend of reviews and the way it's more or less biased. A topic where I don't have the solution again, but I know there is a big problem there. Next, we have Mr. Barry Schwartz, which report that on the Google Local Pack, now you get a call button instead of having the phone number. It just have a button you can call, and I don't think it makes a big difference, because on a smartphone you could also just click on the number, and you can directly get the company. But yeah, looks pretty. Next, we have a Martin Split, the JavaScript specialist at Google Zurich. No, not Mountain View, okay? Zurich, Switzerland. So he's one of the spokespersons for Google. And he's answering a question by Mr. Victor Pan the question is, if Googlebot uses a non-Googlebot user agent to check CLS, LCP, and whatever other web vital metrics, what would its name be called? We implemented dynamic rendering for Googlebot. Should those dynamically rendering worry about poor URL web vitals in the Google Search Console? Martin answers in a long series of tweets, and I'm not going to read them all, but the first one is the Googlebot measures things: dynamic rendering and performance and UX, RUM versus LabData, GSC Web Vitals report, and Googlebot renders with the Googlebot user agent when it renders. Some LabData measurement can be gathered while we're at it, but that's not the whole story. But yeah, not measuring Googlebot with a non-Googlebot UA, we need to worry about. We can just rely on the data Googlebot measures for your performance. Your users, those you should really care about, might suffer a slow experience, and you want to fix that because slow websites are blah, 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 blah about users. Basically, in my opinion, what's going on here is that Google says that it can renders like a browser and so on and do a lot of fancy stuff, but does it really do it at the scale of the whole web? And does it do it well? I have some doubts, but I'm open to the discussion here. They've done it in the past. They've done it with Flash, and I think they're doing it again with this whole JavaScript dynamically rendering thing, where they pretend it's all good when it's not. Next, we have a podcast, the Search of the Record, on the official Google Webmaster channel. And they spoke about comments, and I think they are missing something here. In my opinion, what the whole condom of the web, the rel nofollow, came from the intent of being able to just put a non-trust as far as PageRank distribution, a non-trust tag on a link, especially when you didn't monitor your comments. That obviously blew way over the fact that you could not monitor your comments and let the spammers spam, but it didn't matter because the precious PageRank juice would not flow. But now it's still on the table, regardless of the fact that Google killed the whole comment game, the spam comments, because it's all nofollow, and now not that many people comment on blogs anyway. But they are saying that, especially Gary House is saying that if the comments are rated R and might have some cursing or whatever, well, it could be a negative signal. And it's also said that comments are not part of the meaty part, quote unquote, of the page. This is true. I mean, at least I'll believe that. But I think they're missing the point of what is a bad comment. A bad comment might not be about cursing or not cursing. I think it's about, is it really spammed or not? Is your comment in the middle of other comments promoting Viagra, online gaming, or cheap Rolex? That's what I think would be very bad content in comments. Not really the cursing, but I don't know. they work for Google, right? They're supposed to know better. Next news, CNBC.com. Facebook says Apple's iOS 14 changes could hurt its ad targeting. Yes, Apple is going flat out, full on into the privacy thing. And Facebook targeting relies on heavy profiling, which is more difficult on mobile than on the web, on the desktop, on the computer. Anyways, but now with the new operating system by Apple, it will become a lot harder. From a marketing standpoint, we'll adapt. It doesn't matter. For Facebook, yeah, it's probably going to suck. Next. Tweet of the year, or tweet of the day, or troll of the year. Neil Patel says, it's hard to beat your competition when you are copying them. Well, unless you are Neil Patel and you copy your competition or you repurpose content of everybody else, but you have some money because you had a couple of successful startups early on, good for you, and you spend your money wisely, you pay your way to the top. Well, obviously, if you're not innovative, if you're not original, it's harder. But for you, it doesn't seem so hard because you can buy what others are trying to build organically. Next on the news, Barry Schwartz again. Very funny because if you somebody picked up that if you Googled earthquake now, you could have an answer box asking you, did you just feel shaking? And with 3 answers possible. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. Unsure. That's machine learning for you. But I just thought there was... when we think of back in the days, the first time I heard that, for example, you could see tweets about an earthquake before feeling the earthquake, that blew my mind. But now the fact that Google is also trying to pick up on that trend and trying to figure out how to be on real time, proactive on the news. Interesting. Next, search engine land.com. And we have again Barry Schwartz. SEO myth busting. What is not a Google search ranking factor? We just published on SEO Conspiracy a myth busting video about the 200 ranking factors. I don't believe that we influence Barry Schwartz to write this. It's not possible. SEO's Conspiracy is just a new and tiny little podcast. And how could we influence Google coming back on season 2 with their SEO myth busting and Barry Schwartz pulling out some SEO myth busting articles? Nah, not possible, huh? What do you think? And he goes on through an entire list with sources in next to, for example, search quality raters guidelines rating, Google Ads, social media mention, click-through rates from search results, prognosticating back to the search result page, dwell time, bounce rates, and so on. The problem I have, Barry, is that for most of your sources, some of them are official Google blog, and most of them are Google's spokespeople. Danny Sullivan, John Mueller, Gary Alves, or others. I have a problem with this because who is monitoring them? Like they are not engineers in Mountain View, okay? They didn't make the search engine. They work for Google in Zurich, Switzerland, and I'm making a video right now with the title "Dear Googlers," because I want to know. I want to know how far can I trust them? How far? What are their credentials? Why are they supposed to be the ultimate truth? And why can they be cited as a trusted source in a reputable, like a trusted source like search engine and someone with a very high reputation like Barry Schwartz? I don't know, because I disagree with a bunch of them. We'll see. Different video for this topic, okay? We need to talk about this. Can we trust the Googlers? Next. Funny. Even Google screws up technical SEO. The best way to negative SEO yourself is to do a wrong rel canonical, and that's what they did here. And they mixed up on a google.com/business was google.com/international/en US/business, but the canonical tag has changed to the wrong URL. That's bad. You definitely can kill your site with this. But if you Google yourself, that won't be a big issue. You will come back as soon as you fix it. Even if you are not Google, it will come back. Next, Instagram displays negative related hashtags forbidden, but hid them for Trump. A technical error caused a number of hashtags to not show related hashtags. We've disabled this feature while we investigate. And this is BuzzFeed reporting. And the next news, I will comment on the previous news also. Next news on BuzzFeed is Facebook fired an employee who collected evidence of right-wing pages getting preferential treatment. So a lot of companies, Google, Apple, no, did Apple? I forgot if Apple, but Google for sure got some heat by Trump because they seem to favor the other side. And now it's Facebook, Instagram is Facebook, owned by Facebook. Anyway, so it's the other side. And apparently, when you were typing Joe Biden, you would find some negative hashtags. Like, for example, let me find them. The negative hashtags, where are they? Can't find them. Potentially negative content. I thought they showed example. Democrats destroy America. And also, I'm sorry. I really thought I saw some hashtags, but I can. Well, it doesn't matter. Negative political hashtags. You can imagine what it looks like. Okay, if you want to beat up one of the candidates. So, are those startups? They're not startups anymore. They are huge companies, masters of the world. Do they manipulate the elections? I don't know. What do you think? And last but not least, almost last, following the big tech hearings, the antitrust hearing, on the official House Committee website, they published all the exhibits for Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google. Tons of documents, and look through a few of them. There are so many. You can find on CNBC a summary. What's interesting is for Facebook, looks like they really focus on the whole Instagram issue, okay? Saying that the way the deal went is not fair. The fact that you copy a platform while you try to buy it is not fair business. For Amazon, looks like the whole marketplace and basically the mindset of the pricing, the acquisition, the way, for example, they competed with diapers.com and so on. They're looking at it very in a lot of details about the way Amazon could have some predatory practices. But it's definitely on the marketplace side, and even on AWS, but where they have a relationship with other businesses. If Amazon, the way it was before the marketplace, maybe if they stayed like that, we wouldn't be here, or they would not be here today. Apple, that's the App Store, the Apple tax, the way they might also copy features of competing apps. That's what's on the inside the lens of the antitrust case. And Google, all over the place. I mean, advertising, Android, how they can really get into every aspect of people's lives. Also, the deal with YouTube, the way they bought out YouTube. And there are a lot of smoking guns for Google here. We will see when the report will come out. And last, corporate greed at play. Like we said with Christine during our debrief of the big tech hearing, when they went public, the IPO changed everything. It builds a different company. And Alphabet raises $10 billion with the biggest, cheapest bond sale in its history. While they are sitting on 121 billion in cash. But basically, they borrowed for so cheap. So it's a 5-year tranche, promised buyers 0.45 interest, and the yield is 1.1%. So it's cheaper, and that's common practice. Apple has done it, big corporation, they all do it because it's cheaper to borrow money than to use your own money. I don't understand. Honestly, this is too difficult for me. This is new news for this week. As usual, all the links are on the website seoconspiracy.com. You will find them in the post for the alternative search news for week 32 of 2020. Until next time, take care.